Today, I'm taking a look at the Pegasus 37 versus the Novablast. .21 miles, 8 minutes, 22 seconds per mile, 140 beats per minute today, taking the Pegasus 37 out for a half marathon distance run at mostly easy miles for the day, so I can compare it against the Asics Novablast. Now, before I get to my thoughts on these two shoes, I do want to go over some disclosures. The Pegasus 37 is a pair of shoes I purchased with my own money, and the Asics Novablast is a pair of shoes that was sent to me for the purpose of review by Roadrunner Sports. But in either event, no one's going to reimburse me for the purchase price of any of the shoes or pay me to make this video. And no one's going to get a chance to review any of my thoughts or footage until you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. Now, with the disclosures out of the way, let's take a look at these two daily trainers. Now, what we have are two daily trainers here that are achieving the same result. They're both really great shoes, but they're achieving those results in very different ways. Let's take a look at the Pegasus 37 first. The Pegasus 37 has undergone a lot of changes for this year. The main story is that it's an all React midsole foam with a big 4-foot only Zoom Air pocket. In terms of stack height, we've got 24 millimeters of React foam and rubber stack height in the heel with a 10 millimeter heel drop, which is pretty much what we've seen in the Pegasus for the last several years. Now, in comparison, what we have in the Novablast is Asics Flight Foam Blast midsole material, which is a new foam this year. Is super squishy. Nothing else in there, no gel, no air pocket, nothing like that in this shoe, just this fantastic Flight Foam Blast. We've got 32 millimeters of stack height here with a similar 10 millimeter heel drop. Now, in terms of the upper, what we have is a mesh here that's extremely well ventilated. It almost looks a little bit puffy, but it's very light on foot and the air definitely can flow through really well. There's also a lot of just stuff on this shoe in terms of the overlays and the logo and the reflective materials and a little bit more structure, I'd say, in the heel cup area than what we're seeing in the Pegasus. The upper on the Pegasus is pretty streamlined. We've got a little bit of an Achilles flare in the back and a very breathable mesh up front. Although this year for the cage around the middle of the foot, there's this mesh type material in here that creates almost like a double layer of material around the foot. And I'm worried that this one's gonna be a little bit warmer of a shoe, kind of like the Pegasus 35 was. A very comfortable shoe to run in, but a little bit warm for those hot summer days that we have coming here in Chicago. Now, what's it like to run in these two shoes? I mentioned that they're both very good daily trainers, and they certainly are, but they're accomplishing that in very different ways. In the Pegasus 37, what I feel is a very snug runner's shoe type of fit, almost like a racing shoe type of fit. Not quite that snug, but it's definitely something that if you haven't run in Nikes before, it might feel a little bit unusual to you. In contrast, what the Asics does is it gives you just tons of room. I have both of these shoes in a size 9, but in the Novablast, it just seems like there's a lot of room in the toe box, in the midfoot, in the heel. I think it's just supposed to fit a little bit roomier, which is nice for those longer runs where your foot might tend to swell a little bit by the end of the run. In terms of the running feel in the midsole, I'd say there's a little bit more of a snap to the Pegasus in terms of the React foam and the Zoom Air pocket that's in there. It's a bit more nimble of a shoe, or responsive if you want to put it in those terms. What we have in the Novablast is something that I find to be extremely cushioned, almost squishy to me. It's to the point where I'm a little bit uncomfortable running in it because I feel like there's just too much squish going on. I feel like my foot's sinking in just a little bit too much. But yet, in terms of the effort level that I have to put in to get to the paces that I'm running, it really doesn't seem to be slowing me down too much. On paper, I'm running just as fast as I am running in the Pegasus, it seems. I've had the Pegasus up to about mile pace, and I've had the Novablast up to about 5K pace. So I've put both of these shoes through their paces, and I think that that's a little bit where the differences lie for me in terms of overall feel. Now, for easy paces, recovery runs, longer runs, I think because of the more room that this shoe provides and the extra cushion that I'm feeling, I think for those easier or longer runs, I'm gonna reach for the Novablast. But for something that's gonna be in the daily trainer category and might be a little bit faster, I think I'm gonna be reaching for the Pegasus 37. When I had this shoe up around those 5K paces or even faster, it really started to shine there, and I felt like it was a very interesting shoe. I'm wondering if the 20 PSI that the Zoom Air Pocket is tuned to for this shoe is something that I'm not really getting the benefit of until I'm running those faster paces where I'm hitting the ground a little bit harder. So that's how I would break down the differences in these two shoes, but ultimately I think they're both going to be fantastic daily trainers for a lot of people. And the answer to the question of which one is better may very well come down to a lot of what you specifically prefer. Those are my thoughts on the Peg 37 versus the Asics Novablast. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions or just want to talk about it a little bit more down there. I'd love to keep the conversation going. That's all I have for today. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hope you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?